Okay, so yes, children are out of the way. I've been told not to interrupt me unless their leg's fallen off. So
I've managed to get rid of mine. She's gone to summer camp. So
mine are very, very much present.
yeah, but that's the beauty of like the holidays, right? They are very much present, and I think that kind of like really kicks off like what it's like being a parent, especially in the holidays. So like,
yeah.
I love the fact that we've gone straight in with the struggle.
Straight in there, yeah.
Straight in with the struggle.
It's very much at the yes.
So Jenny,
it is a
you've
struggle.
been in marketing for 20 years. You've
Yeah.
got 3 kids, 2 autistic. Am I allowed to say 1 is psychotic? But I mean, you wrote that. Does that mean one's normal then?
You know that song, "Sweet But a Psycho"? Do you know which
Oh,
one I mean?
yeah, yeah.
That sort of sums up my 5-year-old. She did a dance show over the weekend, and when I was literally bursting with pride, she's on the stage. She's got these little pigtails, doing a
Nice,
little
nice.
ballet dance to like "Mary, Mary, quite contrary" with a watering can. You know, just looks just the most angelic child. And I just sat there and watched her and thought, if only I could put a film of her, like what she's like
Yeah,
off
yeah.
stage. It's just sweet but psycho. That's my.
I love it because that's the thing, isn't it? It's like it's almost like kind of when they're when your kid goes to like the grandparents or something, they're like, oh, they were lovely. You're like, really?
What? Yeah,
Like,
I got told at school she's very shy and quiet,
yeah.
and I've got told my son is very sensible.
Oh,
So I can only assume they've got the wrong kids.
yeah. You're like, you go to pick up and they're like, no, I've picked up the wrong one.
Yeah, and they're just like, she storms off down the playground, because somebody looked at her the wrong way or something like that, and you just think, why do the teachers not see this child that I have to now deal with for the next few hours?
Yeah, exactly. So when you say about I love that because the way you've written it as well.
Mm.
Having children who are autistic, was that like a long process to kind of to go through finding out they're autistic? Because I've always, and the one thing I think I'm hearing a lot recently is people talking about ADHD and people. The most common thing I think I hear people say, oh, I think we're all on some sort of spectrum.
Yeah, someone said that to me last week, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So did you have to go through quite a lot of process then to kind of find out that they were autistic, or?
With our eldest Phoebe, not really, because she was born with a heart condition, so she was under the care of the paediatrician from when she was born, and she had to go for regular checkups. It was actually her that turned around and said, "I think that there might be something there that might be worth getting checked out."
Wow.
And because it was the paediatrician that sort of spotted the symptoms, it made the process a lot quicker. It felt like we didn't really have to jump through as many hoops. She referred us to the community paediatrician. She had an appointment. She got diagnosed. So she was diagnosed when she was about 5.
Wow.
I think he's quite young for
an
autistic diagnosis. My son was different. So a couple of times I've sort of thought, is there something there? But his autistic symptoms are very different from my daughter's. Very different. And a couple of times I'd wondered, but then when he started school, his teacher sort of said to us in parents' evening, have you ever wondered if Bertie might be autistic? And we said we have, actually. And the look of relief on her face, because I think she must have to talk to some parents, and they go, no, of course, of course they're not, of course they're not. So she then referred him, and that took about 2.5 years.
Wow. And is it mad that like the other diagnosis was quick?
Yeah, I mean, the circumstances were obviously different. It was before COVID, and I think that made a difference because there was a massive waiting list following COVID. And the fact it went through the school as opposed, straight from a paediatrician, I think probably made a difference as well. He was also tested for ADHD, and I'm going to be honest, I did think he had ADHD. I think even his teachers were quite surprised when it turned out that he didn't. But I think that's just sort of the crossover. I think a lot of autistic and ADHD symptoms are very similar.
Yeah.
And they're just his. So
yeah,
my house it's a lively one. I'll put it that.
I love it as well because you've also got 3 rescue dogs as well.
I have, yeah.
Like, wow, that sounds like a hectic house.
Yeah, it is quiet. People come around here and I think they, it's the worst nightmare. A lot of them, we don't get many return visitors.
Excuse me. So when you're, I'm going to use this like classic time that we're in now. We've just started. We are in the Easter holidays as well, right?
I am. Yeah, I'm 2 hours in. Not even
So
counting.
I'm 2 hours in. It's funny, isn't it? You
1
always
hour,
you
46 minutes in.
yeah. It's from you should have had them at 9 o'clock, and yeah, I feel like I get them back
Mm.
at 3:30. So this is you're really eating into my time now.
Sorry.
How do you do that when because obviously I know you work in marketing and you work from primarily from home as well, right?
Primarily from home, yeah. I do school hours mainly.
Yeah.
Sometimes with a bit either side if I have to fit in like last week there was 4 events at school for the last week of term, so that was
How
great.
many times have you had to take in a pound then in the last couple of weeks?
Uh,
It feels like every week
yeah.
is like bring in a pound, wear something different. Like,
My,
I mean, I get it.
oh, it's yeah. Oh, my favourite one last week was when we had to decorate an egg for
Nice.
for Easter. I forgot about it because my daughter was in a dance show that weekend. So I'd been running around after her. Got to about 10 o'clock at night and I was like, oh, the eggs. So my kids were in bed at this point. So I sat there decorating these eggs. My daughter wanted a Peppa Pig egg, which looked nothing like a pig. So then I had to just improvise.
Which came
Um,
first, the chicken or the pig?
well, actually the pig, because then I did a chicken as backup. So
Right. Nice. Nice.
yeah, plan B chicken. My son wanted a Minecraft one, so I sat there painting these eggs when they were asleep on their behalf, and then sent them in with a pound for the privilege of doing so.
Right. So
Yeah,
basically, the person who should have got the pound is you for the labour.
yeah, yeah, yes. And then I said to my kids, I was like, look, I've only got £2 coins, so I was like, just give your £2 to your teacher, tell her it's for both of you, and you hand your egg in to your teacher and explain that the
Mum only
money's
had a £2 coin.
yeah. Well, that didn't go to plan. My daughter forgot to hand her egg in completely. She just basically paid the teacher for nothing. um, her egg was still in a bag at the end of the day, and my son handed his egg in to the wrong person. So it was all,
Oh my
when you
God.
just, when you just think, I can't swear, but yeah, there was a
What do you mean
few
you
that,
can't swear? Are you
can I
not allowed to
swear?
swear? Oh,
Well,
you've
I
got
didn't,
kids at home.
well, yeah, they downstairs. I didn't know if I was allowed. It was like a big brother situation where it was like, you're not supposed to swear. But yeah, they got there eventually, but there was definitely a loss in communication. I thought give the money to the teacher was quite straightforward,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
but no.
crazy.
And then when I went into my son's guitar concert on Thursday, they got all the eggs on display in the hall. Mine was shoved behind a curtain.
What?
I sorted that out, got them and put them right,
Did you go up
right
and
at the
just go, look,
front.
I worked hard on that.
I was like, where's mine? I mean, to be fair, this one kid had done like a whole space scene out of a box with different eggs for different planets and,
We used to have to do at my daughter's old school. We used to do the Easter garden,
all right.
and that basically was it was like you had like a a pot plant, for example, or a pot or a
Yeah.
tray or
Um,
something, and you'd make a garden. It was just me and my wife doing it.
yeah,
I
that
swear, all
was,
the parents
yeah,
walking. You can see the ones that have been done by the kids because they're crap.
yeah.
But you see the parents walking down
Mine
the
probably
hill
looked
like,
like it was done by a kid, and that's why I got put behind the curtain. But
oh,
um,
maybe.
the best one was they did this Easter trail at school on Thursday. So they've never done one of these before at school, and that was also a pound to attend,
Yeah,
obviously. Um,
I think we've got up to £11 now.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, we're definitely double digits, aren't we? So anyway, my kids were like, "Oh, I really want to do this Easter trail." So I didn't know what it was about, and they've not done it before. So um, got to school. I said to the teacher, where do we go? And she was like, no idea. So I just joined the back of this massive queue it looked like, we were queuing for Taylor Swift tickets. It was right across the playground. We got there, got given these two little, my son's in key stage 2, my daughter's key stage 1. So there was a trail for each key stage. And they said, oh, you just go up to these posts. There's about 12 posts. There's a QR code. You scan it. Quite
Wow, that's just an advanced school.
yeah, wait for it. So you scan your QR code. There's some questions that come up, and then there's different 4 answers. You pick an answer. Each answer is relatable to a letter. You put the letter on the piece of paper, and at the end you have 12 letters that you then have to rearrange for an Easter themed word.
Okay, cool. I feel like I'm on countdown now.
Yeah, when I get there, the QR codes don't work. They expired. So the teacher's there going, yeah, it's not working, and it's reading out the code. And meanwhile, you've got teachers running around the post, just stapling clues onto all these posts because none of the QR codes are working.
I feel like I'm learning a lot already today, Jenny, because I'm like, QR codes expire? I'm
Apparently
like,
so, yeah.
what?
I don't know if it's just like an app or maybe they needed to buy like an upgrade their version, but
If it was a
apparently
school, they probably had
probably
to go for the
yeah,
cheap option, didn't they?
probably. So the QR codes weren't working. So I was walking around at this point carrying on my kids' bags, drink bottles, lunch boxes, trails. My daughter just turns to me and goes, "Can I just go and do what I want?" And I said, "What? Like what?" She went, "Can I go and play with my friends over there?" And I said, Have you got the slightest bit of interest in this trail?" And she went, "Not really, no," and just legged it.
Amazing.
So I'm doing the year one Easter trail on my own. My son is sort of following around out of sympathy, I think. No lie, some of the clues were so difficult I had to Google them, and I was telling the year six kids the answers. So they started following me around because I was just cheating. And then at the end, the clue, the word I had to find for my son's trail was that confusing. I had to ask a teacher for help.
Wow. We used to do my
Money
daughter's school.
well
These,
spent.
yeah, I was gonna say the one we used to do was we used to do the Scarecrow Trail, and it was about like I think it was like the first weekend of May that they used to do
Yeah, they
it,
do that round here. Yeah, at a little village near us.
which
Yeah,
was always around my birthday because my birthday's the beginning of May, and I was always like, okay, this will be fun.
yeah,
And after about 10 scarecrows, you're like, I'm
yeah.
bored.
Scarecrow's a scarecrow.
And it's all up and down hills, all around the local village. And then there's the kids
Mm.
that live just outside the village. So you then got like get in the car, drive to the next, and you're like, but at which time, like, once you've seen a few, you're like, oh, wow, that's actually just a Lego. That's just basically a figure of a Lego that someone's basically made. And, or that's Batman. And you're like, none of these are actually scarecrows anymore.
No, it's yeah, poetic license. But yeah,
Amazing. So
but
what
yeah,
how do you like when you I mean, I think it's hilarious that we've gone straight in with the with with the struggle, not the juggle in my mind.
oh yeah,
Y-
definitely more of a struggle.
So you've got three children,
Hmm.
and I'm assuming you've got one of those grown up husband things as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, amazing. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and
loiters.
I referred to her as having three children, and she was like, "No, oh yeah, I have got three children."
Yeah.
And I think my wife would say she's got two children because I'm definitely a child. Um,
Mm.
how does that work for you then when it comes to working and then trying to manage kids and stuff? Is there like a thing that you do that kind of and I love when we were chatting before, and I've written this down here because I knew it's like you
What did I
put
say?
what did you put? Hang on, I got a bit. I'm a firm believer that having it all is a load of crap because something always has to give, usually my sanity. So what do you mean by that then?
Well, it's like so last week, for example, it's the last week of term, and my kids' school have never been that big on Easter before, but they really hit hard on it this year. So last week, for example, so the Monday, my son went to the university to do some sport thing. So he had to go in his PE kit, so I had to remember to put him in the right clothes on the right day. Tuesday was
Most
pretty
schools are
normal.
still doing that since COVID, aren't they? I see the
Mine
kids going,
don't.
oh, really?
Yeah, they take their PE kits with them at like the beginning of half term, and then they bring them home at the end of half term. But he got sent home with his, so then I had to wash it and send it back for him to wear. So that was Monday. Tuesday was pretty normal, I think. My daughter had ballet after school, so it was a bit of a change in the car straight to ballet. Wednesday was Autism Awareness Day, so they were allowed to wear their own clothes and go as themselves. So my 5-year-old went as a queen because she is one, apparently.
Nice. Good.
Yeah, I call her Bessie Queen, and she takes it quite literally. She says, yeah, so she went in wearing a crown.
Nice.
Um, if you do Thursday was a reading thing that I didn't know about till the day before, an Easter trail and a concert, all one after the other. And I was working as well. So luckily my job is flexible, so I can sort of say, okay, so can I take an hour out to do this? And then I'll make up the hour later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which is brilliant because it means I don't get to miss out on the kids stuff, which is, really, really important. But then obviously it means that you're then working perhaps later on when the kids have gone to bed.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you've already had a really long day. You've been driving children around and trying to be everything all at the same time to everybody. So, it's brilliant that I can do that. But then equally when you sort of are just trying to play catch up and prepare for the next day. It goes back to that. I know it's overused, but that mental load, it's not always what you're doing is stressful. It's remembering what everybody needs
Hmm.
before they need it.
How do you do that?
Um, I am quite organised. When I say I didn't know a reading event was taking place, that's not because I forgot. For some reason, the letter bypassed me and about 6 other parents. So
Is that because it stayed in the school bag in between yesterday's sandwiches, or
I,
because
I think
we normally find a letter in a bag a week after, and we're like, oh, cool. So
so. We missed that one. I
that
did
was
that. I've
last
done
week
that with a
then.
party invitation before. I had to apologise to this parent and go, really sorry, I didn't find the invite till after the
But
party had happened.
probably saved yourself 10 quid or 20 quid for a gift for a.
Probably
I always
hideous
find,
soft play party.
yeah, soft
Mm,
play parties, but not only that, it's always the friend that they're not really friends with,
yeah.
and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
they've never
great,
even heard
let's,
of them. Like, who's Sophia? You've never mentioned Sophia
yeah.
ever. She's my
Yeah.
best friend.
She's Sophia the
Really?
first, mum, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually think that's really funny that we've just said that, because it is that, like, um
Hate
I
kids'
can't think
parties.
what's the do you ever remember? I think it was on CBeebies. There was a I say that like we both watch CBeebies, but on
I've got it
CBeebies
on
there
now.
used to be, oh, have you?
No.
Nice. There used to be that program that was like, "What's on your plate?"
Yeah.
And I always go like, "What's in your bag?" to my daughter, because it's just like she's always got something in there, and she's a bit of a hoarder when it comes to, like, she wants to take something to school, she'll bring it back, and like she'll keep the one piece of paper from something, and you'll be like, "Why do I need to keep that?" Because it's important. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um, when you're saying about kind of doing that other stuff, and oh, gonna make up. Do you find that then affects the time that you then get with your partner, because you're gonna have to then catch up on work?
To be honest, we both tend to work in the evenings quite a lot.
Hmm.
So again, he works at home, and like last week, he didn't come to my son's concert because his work was really busy and he was struggling to get out of it. So I did it.
Hmm.
And we do sort of, although I do like to try and do all the school things, if it's something that like a reading session or something like that, where it's as long as
Yeah.
somebody goes, it's not like they're performing, as long as somebody's there, then he'll sometimes take that. But quite often we will just work in an evening. I mean, our kids go to school a sort of 10-15 minute car journey, but then put in the traffic, having to park, a bit far away from school and walk up, you're talking an hour
Yeah, yeah.
each side of, you know, the working day. Um, so quite often we will just log in the evening for a little bit and just catch up and do things. So it's not unusual for us to sit there side by side working,
Looking like
even
you're
if
playing
it's,
battleships, right?
yeah, a little bit looking like, yeah. We don't do it all the time. It's not, every evening, but there's usually, a couple of evenings a week where we do just have to say, right, we've got a bit of work to catch up on and we'll just crack on. But I think that's just modern parenting, to be honest. It's I'd rather be able to do that and have a couple of evenings where we say, look, we've got to catch up on work tonight. Don't talk to me for a bit, than miss school things. It's,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. I get that, and it's all about. I think with all of this, it's all about compromise, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Maybe is that Lady in the Tramp on your mug?
Yes, my Disneyland mug.
Who's your favorite Disney character?
I actually like Marie out the Aristocats.
Oh, I don't even know who that is.
The little white cat.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I know exactly who you mean,
Yeah,
actually. Yeah. Ah,
I like
it's.
Marie.
I
Yeah.
was on a Zoom call the other day, and we were talking about something, and the lady had the lamp from Aladdin behind her, and
Oh,
it
yes.
was like a networking thing, and it started off with, you were meant to be like introducing yourselves and talking about your business, and I think we were on the call for 20 minutes. There was like four of us in this breakout room.
But
We were
they're
just
out.
talking about Disney characters, and who was
Who's
that? Who?
yours?
Um, Olaf.
Yeah, Olaf's quite good.
Yeah, I like him because he just reminds me, and I would love to know is, did they think, yeah, we need to create a snowman like Joey from Friends? Because I feel like it's like when he's like walks, it's like, I don't even know a Samantha. It's just the sort of thing that I think Joey Tribbiani would say.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah, Olaf is a good one.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
within your business then, um, tell me a little bit more about what you do with your business, because obviously having the headspace of like the kids and stuff and so forth, like yeah, what is it you do in your marketing business? Because you said that you've been doing marketing for 20 years. I'm like,
Yes, it was different, very different when I first started out. It was, social media marketing wasn't a thing.
leaflets and magazine adverts, was it?
Yeah, and press releases. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So very, very different. Yeah. Um, so I specialize in social media marketing and then pay per click ads like Facebook ads and LinkedIn ads. So it's very different to, you know, 20 years ago. Um, but it's, yeah, I love it. It's very every day sort of different, the different clients that you're writing copy for. I like the fact that there's so many varied businesses that I get to work with. And, I love the networking side as well. It's like, we met through networking, didn't
Yeah,
we?
yeah.
And,
Yeah, yeah.
it's genuinely, I've met some really nice people through just being in breakout rooms. It's lovely. Obviously, you meet a few where you just think, oh, please don't ask me for a one-to-one.
We've all had that one to
We've
one
all
though,
been
right?
there. Yeah.
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 I mean,
And
we had a catch up after when we met up on the networking call that
yeah.
time, and then we were talking about the podcast. I said to you during the thing, I was like, we should have made this a podcast, because we were just the chatting shit about being parents, and
Yeah.
that's what I really loved about when we first met as well. Weirdly, that we met on it was a breakout room about parenting and
Yeah,
work,
it
which
was,
was
wasn't it? It
really
was the
bizarre as well.
Atomicon
That's
thing,
the
but
one.
it
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
parenting one. Yeah.
Um, when you said about like obviously with marketing, like how has that changed? Like, obviously, I know we just said about like leaflets and press releases and
Mm.
stuff, but like, how has that has that massively changed? Do you think? Do you think? Do you think the output's changed like massively, or do you think it's just the way people are viewing stuff, or is there any kind of similarities? You still kind of go, do you know what? I've been doing this since the first day. I still do this with clients now.
I mean, I think to some extent, I mean, obviously, social media marketing wasn't around back then.
Mhm.
And then when, you start, obviously, Facebook was around, but then businesses started to have their own Facebook page and it sort of evolved. And I think in some ways, although I sort of started out in PR, I think in a way, social media marketing is essentially PR in a different format.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily about selling, it's about, your reputation, creating that feeling of trust,
Mhm.
um, showing what you can do to the right people,
Yeah.
reputation management. So I think in a way, social media marketing is that. It's just evolved.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of people expect to get sales out of their social media content, and that's not always. It's not what it's about, really. It is more about getting your brand known and talking to your target audience and informing them about things and adding value and putting, yeah, your online reputation really to some extent, isn't it? I mean, I think people are a lot more open on social media than they used to be. It's not all, it's not all through rose tinted glasses. And to be honest, a lot of the posts I get the most engagement out of are ones where it's, I did one once about why marketing is very much like parenting and we don't always realize. And it was,
Mhm.
you have to be really obvious with your message because, kids just don't listen to you unless you spell it out.
Yeah.
And, essentially that's the same when you're trying to get a message across online.
Yeah.
So I do think people are more forgiving when you do put things on there that perhaps aren't, yeah, as rose tinted, but essentially what you are putting about yourself and your business online can affect how people do see you. So I think it's sort of a natural progression of the press releases from 20 years ago where you'd send them out to the local paper.
I had Marcus Jones, the alcohol free guy, on a couple of weeks ago on the
Hmm.
podcast, and he was talking about he was talking about how a cocaine dealer would text on a Friday and say, "I've got this Cuban, or I've got this, or whatever." I don't even
Mhm.
know the right terminology, just to point that out.
Yeah.
Colombian. I don't know. Could be. All I know is that whenever I've ever heard anything, whenever I pick up coffee, I always look at it and think, are these just other names for drugs? I'm not sure. Um, but he was
Cheers.
saying, yeah, cheers. But he would say, yeah, yeah. He would say, he would get a text, And you said there's something we can learn there with marketing, because you know what? The drug dealer basically is saying, hey, I've got a product. If you're interested, I've got it and it's available. And I think that's something that I definitely have been a bit of a victim of over the years, especially with my media business, that I've, maybe kind of kept it secret. Do you find that a lot of businesses are, they've got this amazing thing, but the one thing they don't actually do is tell anyone about it?
Yes, I think sometimes sharp, short posts about this is what I do are important, but I also think there's that sense of you can't just talk about yourself on posts. It's if you see posts and it's like, we do this, we do that, we're so good, blah blah blah, this is about us.
Yeah.
People lose interest. It really needs to be about what you can do for other people. So yeah, by all means, talk about what you do and mention why you do it, why people should go to you, but it's got to be from the perspective of how can you help other people as well, because it's like the About Us page on websites, isn't it? People need to know where a business has come from and the background to it, but
Mhm.
if all it is a biography, people aren't
Yeah.
bothered. They just want to know, okay, that's great, but how can your experience actually help
Yeah.
me? Because
It's
otherwise I'm not very interested.
it's funny you say that, because you think about it, that you go on to, I'm going to use Tesco's because we get our Tesco food delivery,
Mm.
but you go on Tesco's website and they don't tell the story of, because they know the demand is there. But I feel like with
Yeah.
a lot of businesses, especially smaller businesses, we have to tell the story of like why we do what we do and how we will
Mm.
get you to
Yeah.
this point. But can you
Yes.
imagine if you went on Tesco and the opening page is, well, in 1948,
Yeah. Yeah.
Dave
Yeah.
Tesco and his brother set up a little convenience store. Do you know what I mean? It's big,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
they don't, do you know what? I'm genuinely going to look that up. Is there an about us on Tesco's?
On Tesco's.
Yeah, interesting. That's a
And
good
people
point.
buy from people, don't they, as well? So I think there
Yeah,
has got to be that a personality in there, because that's what makes people different at the end of the day.
yeah,
But you have got to combine the human element with how you can help people,
yeah.
because
I've
if
always
people
ad- I've always
mm,
admired things like Red Bull, because if you look on the Red Bull Instagram, for example, there's no pictures of Red Bull on there. It's all about the lifestyle and all about they sponsor the events and the sports, and I think it's that
mm,
it's almost the like the name and the brand, and it's similar with Virgin, isn't it?
yeah.
Virgin, they're always showing you what you could have or what Do you think um there's there's a way that small businesses can kind of almost like a blueprint that small businesses should use, do you think, to kind of get their like basic message across?
Yeah, or it's at least a sort of rough guideline of what you can do. I think one of the biggest things for me is waffle. When people put really, 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 really long social media posts and you sort of thinking the point's going to kick in
Yeah.
and it doesn't, and then it ends. Um, I'm not big on waffle when it comes to writing, and I think that's probably because I'm genuinely quite short on time, whatever I'm doing. Anything that's too long and waffly, and I will just
Parent moment though, but you do love Waffle Dog, right?
waffle dog.
Do you not?
I
Oh
don't.
my God.
Oh,
Do you know, have your kids never seen Waffle Dog?
no,
Oh my God, it's like this
go on.
epic TV program for kids that they've got a dog and the dog does loads of crazy stuff and it's
Ooh.
always getting into trouble. And yeah, I think, well, knowing that you've got 3 dogs, you definitely love
Yeah,
it.
I own waffle dog.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Maybe you've not known because you've been secretly, it's
Because
all
I live
about you.
it.
You are a Waffle Dog family.
Yeah. What's that on then? Is that CBeebies or Netflix
I
or?
want to say CBBS. I mean,
Oh, okay.
my daughter's 13, so now it's like, I don't want CBBS. It's so ridiculous.
Mm.
But
Well, I'm
so
gonna have to ask them when I come off this if anybody's heard of it.
yeah, they'll probably be like, yeah, mum, it's
Yeah, we've
like
watched it for 4 years. Where have you been?
yeah, it's for little kids, mum. Come on. When you're doing your own marketing then within the
Mm.
business that you work with,
Yep.
is there something that you do? Because obviously a lot of people, would you talk about ads, they will they'll do ads for a reason, either for a sale or for like a lead generation and so forth.
Yes.
Um, And I'm a big fan of, I've always had this thing that, if you got booted off of social media tomorrow, where's your community? Where's your network? Is that something that you're finding a lot of people are kind of moving towards kind of within their marketing, and then they're doing the marketing separately through like emailers, or are you finding it's more click to buy with ads, or?
I mean, so do you mean like a community as in sort of like a network community
Yeah,
that
well, no.
you'll
So,
reach out to?
if you had like let's just say you've got I'm going to use me as an example. In fact, why don't I just try and get some free advice out of you? That's what I'm going to do, Andy. So let's just say I've got a lead magnet, and I've got
Yep,
a lead magnet which is a ebook which is called The Time Rich Parent.
yep,
So you can go onto my landing page and download that. Do you find that I use that to generate leads so that in theory I can then nurture my prospective clients,
yeah.
tell them more about what I'm doing, and effectively do a little bit like I do on my social media, but actually in my emailer I kind of give a bit more value away, because in my opinion, people on social media are scrolling at 100 miles an hour, whereas I
Yeah.
believe that, when it comes to emails, people will, if they're interested in you and they've already gone through the process of, know, like, and trust, and want to kind of get
Yes.
your ebook, or I mean, I've got a meditation as well. Um, do you find that people are kind of going more down that route to nurture people, or are you working with people that are more kind of in the, I've got a product to sell, I sell this metal cup and it's $3.99 and this is the click to buy on the advert, or is it more about kind of gaining the um gaining the email network so you can then sell within the emails, or?
I think it depends. I mean, I always sort of say that with Facebook ads or, or LinkedIn ads, it's more about getting your business in front of the right eyes.
Cool.
With social media, it's, it is a slow burner. It's about sort of constant, frequent content that, adds value, talks about your business. Whereas with the ads, it's very sort of, there's a goal behind it. It might be, like you say, sales, or it might be engagement or traffic to a website. And it's very, you know, specific in what you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
And what we do quite a lot is, if you do an ad and you have, the ad takes you to an ebook, for example, and people have to put their details in. What you can then do further down the line is do a Facebook ad and sort of retarget those people that have already looked at your ad.
Right.
So that's quite good from a sort of relationship point of view, because you're already targeting people that have shown an interest in your product, interested enough to actually click on it.
Yeah.
So that's quite a useful one in terms of, strengthening a relationship, because people have already invested a little bit of time in your business by wanting to, you know, look further. Um, I would say from a sort of relationship point of view, overall, social media is sort of powerful, with ads effectively being quite sort of specific in terms of targets. But I think you do need two side by side, because you could have somebody that sees your ad, thinks, oh, that looks good, that, that interests me. Then they can click on your ad, have a look at your, what you do, and then they might want to suss you out by looking at your social media page. If there's nothing on there, it's going to really put them off, because they'll just assume that you've either gone out of business, you're dodgy,
Yeah.
or, it's a bit of a scam. So you do need both, really, because people might want to just, double check what you're about, scroll through your previous posts. And if there's not a lot of information there, and they can see there's no sort of relationship with followers, then that's going to really sort of knock the authenticity of your ad.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And are you seeing like videos or stills with like images, like with text? Is there anything that you see that kind of has a better kind of click through rate with that?
Depends on the business, to be honest. I mean, if you've got, I don't know, a life coach, for example, people buy from people, and that's a very personal service. So I think
Mhm.
videos in that respect are quite good, because it gives people the chance to see what that person's like, and gives them a feel as to whether they can work with them,
Yeah.
and whether they can help them achieve their goal. But we do, if we're launching an ad, for example, we'll do some split testing. So we have a week where we'll run a video and a graphic sort of side by side. So the budget most people start off with is £5 a day. So we'll put £2.50 behind each sort of creative, run them side by side, and then after a week we'll go back and look and see which was more sort of successful in terms of a response from target audience. So then at least the client knows, oh, actually the video is going to work better for me. We'll switch the other ad off, and then it gives them sort of confidence that actually this is the best
And ads
ad
take
ad for me.
they take like a week or so to almost kind of
Yeah.
I remember whenever I've done ads in the past, it always says learning.
Yeah. There's
And
a
I
learn
always
phase.
feel
Yeah.
like it almost like it, you know, when you're loading something and it says loading and it's loading. And I
Yes.
feel like that's
I
what the
remember.
learning part is almost like.
Yeah, it is essentially. Yeah. That's why we don't check in on it any earlier than a week, because if we did, it just wouldn't give very accurate results. So after a
Yeah.
week, we'll look, see which is performing the best, and then switch off the one that isn't and put the whole £5 behind the video or the graphic, depending on what's working best.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So one thing that's just jumped straight out at me right then, you
Yeah.
just said £5 a day.
Mm.
That doesn't sound like very much money.
It's cheaper than the Starbucks my daughter's got her eye on this holiday.
Then she's got the Starbucks. Well, oh my God, I wouldn't give my daughter coffee.
Well, no, it's not. Oh no, it's this pink drink apparently, and
Oh,
it's just basically lemonade, I swear, with a bit of dried strawberry chucked on the top. But it's like
oh,
£6.
what?
I know she's having an MRI scan on Friday, like a cardiac MRI scan, because she's got some more surgery this year. So she's really worked up about it. She's like, "Can I have a Starbucks pink drink afterwards if I'm good?" So I was like, "Yes, of course you can." Thinking it'd actually be cheaper to take her for a beer.
Yeah. I love it as well because that's one thing that I always notice within marketing. Um, Kids see stuff, they get marketed to, and as much as I absolutely hate it, there's so many times where I'm like, "Oh my God," like, you know, some of the clients that I've worked with over the years, I'm like, "Well, you could learn from that brand
Yeah,
because of the way they do." You know, I absolutely despise Temu.
you're saying.
I only despise it because I just think it personally, I'm gonna go on record here, I personally think it can't be ethically correct.
No, I
You
agree.
there's no way
Yeah,
you can make those products and sell those
no,
products. And
I
I
agree.
personally, as a family man, as a dad, as a business owner,
Yeah,
somebody somewhere is basically getting screwed to make that product. Whether
yeah.
it's the person making it in the factory or the person who's having to sell it because of whatever. Although weirdly, we bought the game, I think it's called Snapple at Christmas. We bought it on TikTok Shop. Never bought anything on TikTok Shop.
Yeah, we bought a
Um,
couple of things from TikTok Shop at
yeah,
Christmas.
which I think is probably just as bad, by by all accounts. So
I'd imagine so,
I'm
yeah.
probably a bit of a hypocrite now. I just thought about that. However, it had the alphabet around the outside, and you had the timer, and you have to guess certain things. It doesn't have like a third of the letters from the alphabet. It's just so irritating. I'm like, what? You know, it's like that old Santa Claus movie where the kids, you get the toys or the presents and stuff, and like the wheels start falling off. It feels a little bit like that. But I think there's so much to the as you know, you've just said like your daughter has
Mm.
been like marketed to about a drink. Now, whether that's a drink that she's seen on the TV, you know,
Yeah,
bus stop. I've always been a massive believer in the bus stop ad. Um, And when I used to have my wedding photography business, I used to have a bus stop ad. And I had a bus stop ad. I used to do like portraits and stuff like that. And one Christmas I did an advert and I just basically put, it was actually my friend's daughter. We dressed her up. We did this whole Christmas thing. We put it in like 3 bus stops. I was inundated with business. I didn't,
really?
and it was 25 quid for a bus stop
Wow.
I think it was like 2 weeks and they did like a special offer or something. And I was like, it's like, you know, if you do an advert in the magazine back then, it would have been like a couple £100.
Yeah. Mind you, I was walking my dog the other day and on the park, and someone had got like some chalk or some spray paint or something and put, "Do you need a mobile barber?" And then put his name and his website underneath. Took a
Have
picture of it, sent it to my boss, and I was like, "Oh, we just need to get some chalk now and be,
Have you
drawing."
not seen this? I think that it came out around the COVID time because they were spraying the floor with the COVID-19 2 meter distance, and they
Oh
were
yeah.
doing it on basically they're making marketing out of dirt and just proving how dirty the floor is. But I've seen now companies are doing it where outside their premises they'll put these stencils down, they'll jet wash it over, and you can see like the offer in the pavement as you're walking past.
Oh, cool. It's
And I
just,
think that's
yeah.
the thing, isn't it? It's interrupting people's thought patterns, isn't it?
Yeah, it was clever. Like I say, it made me take a picture of it and, send it. Not that I need a mobile barber, but I just, yeah, sent it to my boss and I was like, oh, look, like, we need to get some chalk.
Yeah, but it sounds silly, but like it works and it's powerful,
It,
right?
yeah. And it would have taken this guy like, what, 2 minutes to scrawl on the floor?
My daughter's just got in the garden. She's just done hopscotch yesterday.
Mm.
And it's really funny
Old
because
school.
old school, she's proper old school, I'll tell you. And
Oh.
we've got like a back wall in our garden, and in the summer we just let her just draw all over it. And
Mm.
every time it rains, it falls off. It's like a heartbreaking scene from the Mary Poppins movie.
Like the snowman at the end where it melts.
Yeah, basically. But the thing is, she always, like, I think last year she did like a massive rainbow, and then it was
Oh.
just like looked really sad, just dripping down the wall.
Yep.
But it's crazy, isn't it? You just think that something as simple as chalk, um,
Mm.
and it like a couple of quid,
Yeah. Yeah.
So with the company that you work with, it's 2222 marketing. Is that how you say it, or how do you
2222.
2222? Is there a reason why it's 2222?
Yes, it wasn't my sort of name. It's Chris. That I work with his business, so it was all to do with the angel number thing. He kept seeing whenever he looked at the clock, he kept seeing 2222,
Oh,
which I find
amazing.
really funny actually because he goes to bed about 9:30. So he must have gone through
So
a stage of having some late nights. Yeah. Um. So yeah. So that it was
God,
all
imagine if he'd
down
never gone to
to
bed
that.
at that late, he would never have
I
come up with
know.
that name.
I know. Yeah, it might have been like,
1111.
21:39 or something.
Yeah.
Not quite as catchy. Um, so yeah, it was all to do with that. And apparently there's some, I mean, I don't really know much about numbers, but apparently it's associated with sort of new starts and new beginnings and stuff like that, that angel number. So it's
Yeah.
all to do with that. So
Amazing. So,
yeah.
Jenny, how can people find you and the world of 2222
Well, I'm on
online?
LinkedIn, Facebook, website, the usual
Epic,
really.
epic.
Yeah.
I'll put all your details and stuff in the show notes, and I've just got your list here of like Instagram and stuff like that, and we'll put that all in there. But it's been a pleasure chatting to you today, and I really appreciate, one, I love the real talk as well, actually hearing what it's like, especially um, 3 kids, a husband, 3 dogs, and a business, and working for someone and doing a job and working from home. It's like it's the reason I do what I do, working with people, helping them kind of sort out their work-life harmony, because it's not easy, right?
It's really, really hard. And, so we both work. We've not got a lot of help really. My dad, is taking my eldest daughter for breakfast on Thursday, I think, just, to get her out and give her a treat. But, we don't have any sort of external help as a rule. So yeah, a lot of it is down to us, and it is juggling. It's like it's really important to me that I give each of my kids some one-to-one time in the holidays. So my little one, I'm taking her to see Six tomorrow.
Nice. I
It's
saw the
it's
trailer for that.
coming.
Looks wicked.
Yes, I saw it last year in London with my friend, and it was just brilliant. And I've had the music on all the time. So now it's coming to the cinema. I said to my 5-year-old, "Should we go?" So she's very excited. She's got a Crown T-shirt ready to wear.
Nice.
And I have a feeling she's also going to go in a crown as well. Um, and my son wants to see the Minecraft film, which unfortunately he seems to want me to see with him. So I've got to sit through that. But I do try and, although I'm working, I do try and prioritize a one-to-one time throughout the holiday because I think the kids enjoy it. And to be honest, they're just nicer people when they're on a one-to-one.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just,
They get more focus time with you, that then
yeah.
they appreciate it when they are with you, right?
Well, I don't know. I hope so. They just seem to want to fleece me, to be fairly honest. But it's like, yeah. But I do try and balance it. It's not easy. It really is so difficult, and there's always some guilt somewhere along the line. Like I said before, you can't have it all. There's something that will give somewhere. I think it just depends on what you're happy with giving on that particular day.
I love that. I love that. Jen, thank you so much. It's been an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure chatting to you.
And you.
And enjoy the rest of your Easter holidays. And
Thanks.
I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting you in person, and Chris at
Mm.
Atomic Con in
Yes.
June.
Yeah, it's not long now, is it? two
Not long at
months?
all, exactly. And that'll be parent hair down, kid-free, exciting times.
Parents on the loose.
And that wraps up today's episode of the Coffee, Chaos and Confidence podcast with me, Coach Casey. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you like and subscribe. It helps other listeners find the show. Also, go and check out the show notes to learn more about my incredible guests. Until next time, make sure you chase your dreams without limitations.